a sinner, left my lover crying on the dance floor. I'm a sinner, I'm a sinner.
Welcome back to more Paranormasight. There's a lot we need to do, but not a lot we can do. This ain't looking good. We're gonna run out of time if we can't do something. Gotta keep moving. Let's see, where to go? Looks like we've opened some places up. Fancy sushi. With dusk fast approaching, they have no time to waste. With that in mind, Tsutsumi and Iryo direct their investigation towards Komagata High School and the Shirashi residence. I do love this music. Again, I wish Square Enix would do more like this. Here we are, Komagata High. Classes are suspended for the day, so the students are just kind of wandering aimlessly around. This place isn't only connected to the case because the students were under Yoshima's jurisdiction. It's also the site of the fool's possession, and of course, where that teacher was killed. Seems like a likely place to find some clues, don't you think? The news of the dead teacher has also attracted a fair share of rubberneckers. The atmosphere is kind of tense with this many cops around. The school gate will stay locked while forensics inspects the scene of the incident. Looks like they're still busy. Let's talk to the person in charge later. Komagata High Gymnasium also serves as a polling place and evacuation center. A lot of the buildings around here are still made of wood, but this place looks to be safe and sturdy. Yoshimi also looked out for these students as Sumida City officer. Juvenile delinquents have been a growing problem for years now. This school is no exception. Ideally, we could talk to someone who was involved in the incident. Easier said than done, though. Is there something on my shirt? Don't tell me I stink. Oh, right. Speaking of schools. What is it? You said Paranormal Affairs can't help us right now. So why don't we get the psychic high schooler you mentioned to help us? A lot of the people involved in this case lead back to the school anyway, so it might make things easier to have them with us. For a guy who questioned me on the legality of working with them, you sure seem eager to exploit underage labor. Hey, who said anything about exploiting them? I just want to give our young experts the opportunity to shine. When you'd become such a smooth talker. Anyway, I'm afraid I don't know where they are. I see. I wonder if there's anyone who could help us scout the area. Look like. Yeah, what we can do. Try the neighborhood. Seems like Michio's house is at the end of this road. We don't want to intimidate them, so maybe I should go alone. The houses are really crammed together in this narrow alleyway. Let's Strangers like us walking through definitely stand out. It really feels like old Tokyo. It's quiet. This place is normally pretty lively, full of people coming and going. But it seems like everyone decided to stay inside because of the recent incidents. I mean, it's smart. Hirio is checking their Shirashi house at the end of the road. This street's real narrow, so two big guys like us would stick out like a pair of sore thumbs. So, the Shirashi household. There's a chance that Michio didn't actually kill herself. It might be for the best that we didn't find her parents. Oh. Mockingbird discovered. Alright, I'll go check out the house. Irio's off checking the Shirashi household. I'll just wait till he gets back. Oh, you're back. No luck, boss. No one home? Doesn't look like it. I knocked for a while, but nobody came to the door. I glanced in the windows, but there was no sign of activity inside either. And I saw about 3 newspapers stuffed into their mailbox. Irio kind of looks disappointed. You cannot currently progress any further. Once your situation has changed, click the resume button. So we're kind of stuck there. Life can be tough. Throughout the night, Whitker. Wow, I can say his name. Whitker continues to gather information about the curse stones while Haru lies awake until dawn, preoccupied by the prospect of bringing her lost child back to life. Good morning, ma'am. How are you feeling? I'm fine. I hope we can make good progress today. How's your curse stone looking? I haven't felt anything from it since sunrise. Interesting. It's possible that its power can only be unleashed at night then. That aside, why are you so late this morning? There are unfortunately some things that can't be investigated while the world slumbers. But I did get some research done in what limited time I had. Very well, let's talk. No one's in the mansion at the moment. The door has been locked shut. The housekeeper has already left after cleaning and preparing food. The town is beginning to wake up once more. The clamor of society can be heard from beyond the garden gates. Like any day, a cloud of pollution drips out from the industrial area. By the way, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. And what's that? Our current plan is to steal a curse stone that's already absorbed soul dregs, but I'm wondering if it would suffice to not steal, but instead negotiate with the curse bearers and have them use the right for our purposes? Oh? I mean, I suppose that would accomplish the same, but do you think it's possible? So long as we offer compensation, it may prove much easier than you'd expect. Compensation? Cash, for instance. That wouldn't be off the table for a family as rich as the Shigimas, would it? Of course, but why any amount would be fine if it'd get the job done. I won't let monetary matters lead me to regrets the way it did back then with the ransom. Okay, with that option on the table, let's figure out our strategy. This is the old mansion where I was born and raised. He's looking a bit tired. He must have been up all night investigating. Do you have a curse bearer with whom we can negotiate in mind? Not yet. Surprisingly, it seems the other curse bearers haven't been that proactive about collecting soul dregs. Did you see the news this morning? No, I haven't. Overnight, 3 mysterious deaths were reported in this area. They've yet to announce the identities of the bodies found, but they've been nicknamed the Honjo serial killings. It's garnered quite some attention on the streets. Oh my. Only 3? That's what I thought. Even if the victims were curse bearers, just 1 or 2 wouldn't be enough soul dregs. And for what those curse stones are capable of, a mere 3 victims seems a little on the low side. With this little activity all through the night, the curse bearers must be a cautious bunch. What's holding them back? Are we not all after the power of resurrection? There may still be some undiscovered victims, but it doesn't seem like anyone has gathered enough soul dregs yet. We might have to set up some bait to spur them into action. And then we offer them the deal. Yeah, pretty much. We may be surrounded by the curses and deaths, but it matters little. My only concern is whether I can see my child again. None of the curse bearers seem very proactive. I wonder if the situation could be what the mastermind who kicked it all off intended. Now that's an interesting theory. You think there's someone behind all of this? You mentioned hearing an agonized voice telling you to kill when you first obtained the curse stone. That doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. Someone agitated the curses in this area on purpose, and they are likely after the rite of resurrection as well. So you're thinking this person is not one of the curse bearers? You've got a sharp mind, ma'am. Though it might seem obvious for the mastermind to become a curse bearer and collect soul dregs if they were after the rite, this would be very risky, since as a curse bearer they themselves would become a target. So it'd actually be more convenient for them if the curse bearers moved less aggressively. That's right, but despite that, they've been inciting the curse bearers to commit murders. Why? Let's consider this. What if the mastermind isn't trying to collect soul dregs themselves? You mean their intention was to steal the souls while the other curse bearers compete with each other from the start? Sitting back and observing from the sidelines is the safer course of action, which is why I figured it'd be best for us to attempt the same strategy. So how should we do it? There's still reason to suspect the mastermind could be a curse bearer themselves. To be honest, I want to keep my distance from whoever it is. There's no telling what kind of power they might possess. Whether our aim is to negotiate or steal, we'll have to outpace the mastermind in making contact with the other curse bearers. How do you suppose we do that? At this point, all we can do is search. If there's a mastermind inciting the curse bearers to collect soul dregs, can we be sure there even is a rite of resurrection? Good question. The rite could be nothing but a myth fabricated to spur the curse bearers into action. Seeing it might be for a knot, do you want to give up, ma'am? Never. Understood. After all, we never know the truth unless we see it for ourselves. But we'll do it without using the curses ourselves. By the way, I met a few people who seemed like potential curse bearers last night. I did some investigating into all of them. but I only managed to get detailed information on 2. You're quick. I suppose that's to be expected from an investigator extraordinaire. I appreciate the flattery. First, there's Ayami Tano, the girl we talked to before, though she isn't a curse bearer herself. She's a student attending T University of Art. She currently lives alone in an apartment near Midoricho Park. You even determined her address? You're not one to be underestimated, Mr. Investigator Extraordinaire. I earned my name. I called every single university with Ikioi in curriculum pretending to be her parent. I went around to check on her place on the way here. It doesn't seem like she's returned home last night. I'm worried she might have run into some trouble. Didn't you attempt to follow her last night? I'm embarrassed to say, but I couldn't. She shook me. I couldn't keep track of her. And here I thought you were an investigator extraordinaire. I'd like to learn more about her, but it would take some time. She is planning to steal the curse stones just like us. It's best we act carefully around her. Next is the tall man who is dressed in black. I met him near Kinshicho. He stood out with the way he dressed. I managed to get some good information from him. Impressive. What can I say? He works for the secretary of Hihaku Soap's chairwoman. I believe his name is Yakimo Yumioka. The Hihaku Soap's headquarters and factories are both located in Honjo, correct? Yes, they've been here for years, but it's only in the past 10 years that the company has shown significant growth. I remember seeing the chairwoman on the news a few years back. She seems to be very shrewd. With the increase in sales, I assume she'd want her factories running at full capacity. But with the harsh restrictions against industrial waste, a lot of the factories with older equipment had to be shut down. That's right, even 10 years ago there were many complaints about chemical plants dumping waste into the river. Most companies back then were more concerned about making a profit than protecting the environment. I wonder what a man working for such a company would have been up to in the middle of the night. On the way here, I stopped by the company's headquarters, but they hadn't started for the day. I should have better luck later. Let's hope you will. Perhaps they're interested in seeing if the right would be beneficial for their product research into beauty and skincare. Huh, now that's an interesting thought. I ran into one more suspicious young man last night. This one seemed to be out collecting soul drags, right? Indeed, I couldn't get a good look at him, though, and I couldn't gather enough intel to properly identify him. Well, that's a shame. But I can make an educated guess. Oh? You know that researcher who discovered the ancient text on the Rite of Resurrection, the one that lives near here? His name is Hideki Arashi, and the man I met... his name is Hideki Arashi, and the man I met was very similar in stature. Oh my, even he's involved? How awfully suspect. Considering his background, couldn't he be the one who initiated the whole affair? I think it's possible, yes. Which is why I decided to refrain from making contact with him for the time being. Safety first. Understandable. Of course, I want to learn more, but this isn't the right time to focus on him. I prefer to ascertain who else is a curse bearer. First, I'll return to Hihaku Soaps to see that man in black. Their headquarters are down on South Warigasu Street. Warigasu. I learned something new about the criminal involved with the kidnapping. It concerns the serial killings. There was a body found at the Kamagata High School. The person who identified as the school teacher, his name is Kohei Jinochi. Do you think he was a curse bearer? Not sure, it's possible. But regardless, this means that two people who knew the truth about the kidnapping are both dead. Just when we were getting somewhere. It isn't enough to make me give up, of course. Still, we don't know anything about Michio Shirashi's residence. It'd be wise to pay it a visit. Understood. In addition to 3 victims associated with the Honjo serial killings, there's Michio Shirashi, who reportedly commits suicide, and the police officer who died at the former Yasuda Gardens. If strange deaths continue occurring like so, they're bound to inspire strange rumors. But those last 2 have nothing to do with the 7 mysteries now. It's true, both occurred a week before this accursed situation began. But still, it can't be ruled out. It's possible that the mastermind was involved even with those killings. How? What if there were preliminary steps to awakening the 7 mysterious curses? Can we really assume they're unrelated just because the timing doesn't match up? Or rather, the police officer's death is so baffling that it'd be easier if it were connected to the curses. The victim wasn't the type to be caught off guard easily. You seem to know a lot about this. I suppose we aren't strangers. My personal feelings might be wrapped up in this one too. I see. If you were to investigate this matter more, you might get a lead on the mastermind. You're right. If we wish to focus on the mastermind's identity, this would be a fine starting point. We might even discover more deaths related to the curse on the way. We should pay attention to today's news. Well, that's all I have to report. Shall we continue with our investigation? What do you think? What do you want to do? If you still can't use the cursed stone, taking a walk should be a fine place to start. Alright, let's go together. I want to see what's going on for myself. In that case, I'll trust you to decide on where we should go, ma'am. Where should I begin my search? Which places have stood out to me most so far? We're here. This is Midoricho Park. Ayami Tano lives around here. She wasn't in her apartment when I dropped by this morning. I wonder if it's worth checking out again. This place is connected with the story of the Taiko of Sugaru. Not only that, Katsushika Hokosai's home was also in this area. That might be why Ayami chose to live here. Obsessed much? It's always heartwarming to see children playing in the park. Ritger seems to like kids, perhaps because they're on the same wavelength. Ow. We won't get much done standing around here. Why don't I go and check out Ayami's apartment? You don't mean to speak with her, do you? Nah, I'd prefer to get an idea of what she'd be up to. I'd like to see whether she's been home or not, just to potentially get a trace on her movements. Then be my guest. Okay, I shouldn't be long. I'm back, ma'am. So nothing. I'm afraid so. She still hasn't returned. However, I noticed a few people who seem to be related to the police force keeping watch on the area. I don't know if they got eyes on her apartment, but they do appear to be watching the building as it's in. Interesting. You've got a sharp eye to have noticed them despite being so covert. What can I say? It's part of the job. However, it meant I had to refrain from knocking on her door or looking through her windows. Wasn't able to check her electric meter or mailbox either, unfortunately. You were planning to go that far? There was somebody in the shadows again. Oh, it's fine. Place is okay. We won't. Okay. What a waste of time. We should move on quickly. The Haku Soap's headquarters are on the other side of South Waragesu Street. They were closed when I visited this morning, but it appears things are starting to open up slowly. To think a soap-making company could grow so much in such a short time. They have factories and warehouses throughout the area now. You can see why director and now chairwoman, Natsui, is called the Queen. You mentioned that Takumi works as her secretary? That's correct. Do you think it's possible he's acting on her orders? That's exactly my thinking. A curse bearer with both money and power could certainly look at resurrection as their next prize. Negotiating with a person of that stature may prove difficult. Business is up and running. I can see people inside the reception area. First, I need to confirm whether Takumi is the man I ran into last night. Then I'll be able to determine if he is a curse bearer. It'll be better if I go inside the headquarters alone. You should walk around and visit that cafe for some tea, perhaps? It would be better if I go inside alone. Back in the Edo period, the canal known as South Warigesu ran through this area, but it's been turned into a major road. It's a bit away from Kinshicho Station or Ryugaku Station, though it's still considered a nice area. The stories of the ever-burning lantern and the foot-washing mansion both took place around here. One of the bodies discovered this morning was found by this road as well. This is quite a lively area, huh? I suppose you could call it somewhat of a city center. An influential person at Haihaku Soaps is potentially a curse bearer. Ricker proposed we use money to negotiate for the curse stone, but we could hardly outbid a large corporation if it comes down to it. I'm going to go in. I may be a while, so feel free to find somewhere to kill time. Okay, good luck in there. Sorry to keep you waiting. How'd it go? I'll fast forward the conclusion. I met with Takumi. There's no doubt he's the same man I saw last night. But it doesn't seem like he's a curse bearer. But that doesn't mean he has no connection with the recent curses. He knew about the 7 mysteries. He even guessed we have a curse stone of our own. Excuse me? Uh-oh. I tried to approach Takumi about the fallen item after I ran into him last night, however. You said your name was Ritka, correct? I have a favor I'd like to ask you. I'm hoping you would hand over the curse stone in your possession. Curse stone? What are you on about? There's no need to play dumb with me. In fact, there's no time for it. I had all the same reason you did to think you were a curse bearer last night. And your arrival here only confirms it. You are a curse bearer now. You're right, we lack time. I confess I am a curse bearer. I possess the cursed stone of the haunting clappers. I'm glad to hear the truth. Finally, this conversation is worthwhile. It is a dangerous item you hold. Give it to me. My company will take the responsibility of disposing of it. I didn't know the soap business specialized in scrubbing curses clean. It is the prerogative of the prerogative. I'm losing my ability to read slowly. It is the prerogative of Miss Yamamori. Is that so? Assuming you've obtained the curse, you understand the power it involves, no? Miss Yamamori possesses supernatural powers akin to those of a god. She also has a deep love for this land, having transformed it from a pile of dirt it once was to the home of our headquarters. She cannot stomach the fact that it's now the site of these curses run rampant. So, you're telling me the Queen of Haihaku is a real-life witch? She wouldn't appreciate being called that, mind you. There's a sorcerer by the name of Sugen Gamioto, who's gallantly working behind the scenes, exorcising spirits and the like. Go on. That being so, there have already been instances of the dead coming back to life. Do you understand the urgency of this matter? These are curses we're speaking of, tools which are used by wicked beings to possess people. The rite of resurrection is nothing but a fabrication meant to seduce the curse bearers into unspeakable actions. If you truly understand what I'm talking about, you must hand over the curse stone at once. Very interesting. With that said, just how many curse stones have you acquired so far? If what you're telling me is true, surely the company would have launched a large-scale search by now. We have 6. Damn. 6, whoa. I can rest at ease then. And here I thought I was at risk of being cursed. It seems we are on the same page. If that is the case, you should hand over your curse stone immediately. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's not actually in my possession at the moment. Considering its importance, I've been keeping it hidden. Really now? Then I'll accompany you while you retrieve it. I'm sorry, but I've got something important to attend to. But I promise I'll return with it later on. Very well. Then you won't refuse to provide your address and telephone number, I presume? How prudent of you. I'll oblige. And that's how it went. So they aren't after the right after all? I wouldn't be so quick to trust him. Oh? I believe we're dealing with the master in deception. He may well have made up a story to convince us to part ways with our stone. I think he was lying about having procured 6 curse stones as well. Like, really? 6? That's excessive. Well, now I feel gullible. The company is plotting something. I wonder what they mean to do with the curse stones. He seemed rather desperate to get a hold of ours, despite us not having collected any soul dregs. Perhaps the people at Haihaku are masterminds behind the curses being unleashed? Because the chairwoman's a witch? I wondered about that too. If she really were that powerful, would her secretary have divulged that information so casually? Takumi was either making it up as he went or he's trying to spread a rumor. For what purpose would he do that? Recently, people have been caught up about the occult more than ever before. If word spreads that Haihaku's chairwoman has godlike powers, she would very well benefit socially and politically from that mystique. That's unsettling. It is a little unsettling, yes. He tells me he's barely slept last night, and yet he seems to be brimming with energy. Was I too resilient at his age? Perhaps it was what set apart detectives from the rest. By the way, there's one more thing of interest I heard while in the company's reception area. And what's that? People were discussing whether one of the bodies found this morning was that of a Haihaku employee. Really? So long as the officials haven't revealed the identity, it all amounts to no more than speculation, though. Despite that, I've reason to believe Haihaku Soaps is deeply involved in the 7 mysteries. At the very least, I can assure you I've gathered that much. The more we know, the better our negotiations will go. So we know the police are at one place. Here we are at Ground Zero, Kamagata High School. I guess it's logical that the police got this place shut down. The teacher's body was found here after all. It's as if the students have nowhere to go now that the school is closed. It seems the officers are still inspecting the scene. Entry has been strictly prohibited. So we're gonna check this out next time, guys. So thank you so much for joining me for more of this game. Have an awesome day, everyone, and don't forget to check all the links in the description. Bye!